Hey guys, Ashton here again with Decants. I'm going to do a quicker version of my eBay buying tips video. The last one I rambled a little bit, so it got kind of long. I was battling a little bit of a head cold, so this will be an abridged version. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Number one, know your seller. If you're buying from FRAGRANTICA or Lily Direct or any of those really large retailers, you have nothing to worry about. You have to start digging in a little more. If it's a medium-sized company that maybe looks a little shifty, or your individual sellers that have 5 to 10 products that they're selling, especially if all of the products are ones that are heavily counterfeited, like Dior, Chanel, Creed, Tom Ford, or any of the other really well-known, very often counterfeited brands. Number two, know your product. You should be able to check online, look at pictures, reviews, videos, things like that. You should know how the bottle comes. You should know what it looks like. You should know where the batch code is. You should know basically everything about the packaging of the box and bottle that you can. If possible, go into a store like a Sephora, Nordstrom, something like that, where you can handle the product itself. That way when you get it, you can kind of compare it to what you've seen and be able to tell, more easily whether something is off or whether it's authentic. Number three kind of goes along with number two. Test before you buy if at all possible. Go into a store, if it's something like Sephora, and get a free sample. If you don't have it readily available to sample where you are, either buy a decant off of a legitimate seller like Scent Split or a Perfumed Court or a carded sample. You can find those on eBay really easily, and those are pretty much never counterfeited. So if you buy small samples, the little vials or the little 1.5 ml sprays that you can get carded from the brand officially, then you can kind of get accustomed to the scent. When you get in the full bottle that you've purchased, you can compare that either directly with the sample that you have or by memory, and that will tell you pretty quickly whether what you have is legit or not, because 99.9% of the time, a fake does not smell or project really very closely at all with the thing that it's counterfeiting. Number four, you should check the seller's feedback, but you should understand that feedback is not really a tell-all. You'll have people on Lily Direct, you'll have people on FRAGRANTICA leaving negative feedback saying that something is not authentic even though it is. Either they're unhappy with the purchase for one reason or another, or there could be a small chance that they got something that turned because it was stored incorrectly. But you should still check, because if there are lots of negative feedback, or even a couple negative feedback on a medium to smaller seller saying that things are counterfeit, that should raise a red flag, because honestly 95% of the buying public is just going to leave a positive feedback as soon as they get something if it looks realistic. On the flip side, if there are lots of positive feedbacks of people saying that it is authentic and it looks like legitimate feedback, then that could be a good sign that the seller is actually selling legitimate goods. Number five, not all testers are legitimate. It used to be that everyone would say if you want something legit, just buy a tester, you don't have to worry about it, but counterfeiters do counterfeit testers now. So you should put them through the same paces as you would a bottle with full presentation. Especially Tom Ford private blends. If you see any Tom Ford private blends with a white tester box, those are fake 100% of the time. Tom Ford private blends do not come in tester boxes, period, at all. Period. So if you see those, they're always fake. You can search online for a little more information on this, but basically, if you're buying a tester, put it through the same pace you would any other bottle, and you should be fine. Number six, if it is from Russia, Romania, Bulgaria, China, Ukraine, basically Eastern Europe or areas around China, don't buy it. 99% of fakes seem to come out of that area. Just don't even risk it. The prices are too good to be true for a reason. You're not going to be able to buy Creed's Aventus brand new for $50. It's fake. Number seven, you should be able to check the box, bottle, cap, presentation, batch code, and have everything check out. This goes back to knowing your product. If you've looked everything over beforehand, you should be able to authenticate your bottle really quickly when you get it and actually unbox it. If you unbox it and things aren't really clicking and stuff seems to not really gel with how it should look, smell, or be presented, then what I suggest is going to Google, just type in fake or counterfeit, whatever fragrance you bought, and that should pull up multiple threads on Base Notes and Fragrantica and possibly other websites where other people are trying to get their bottles authenticated, and usually there will be pictures there and people kind of giving things to look for, and you can compare between what you have and what you see and authenticate your bottle that way. You can also do a YouTube search. If it's a more popular fragrance, there are very often videos where people will compare fake to real bottles of fragrances, for example, Dior Sauvage, and you can usually authenticate your bottle pretty easily that way as well. Number 8, if you are the type of person that gets paranoid or works yourself up, it may not be best to buy fragrances from eBay. There have been a lot of people that I know, and I used to be this way a little bit too, who will get themselves worked up and thinking that they probably bought a fake before it even arrives. So then when you get it, you already have this biased opinion that you've bought a counterfeit. And then that kind of gives yourself a headache, possibly gives the seller a headache, especially if they're selling authentic things. So it's best to stay as level-headed and unbiased as possible. Once the bottle comes in, go ahead and look everything over and authenticate it at that point. But if you've looked over everything in the listing and checked the seller, checked the item, checked the price, all that stuff, and it checks out, don't worry about it. Because if it turns out to be a fake, then eBay will cover you. You'll have to mail it back, but the shipping will actually be covered by the seller. So really, no harm, no foul. You can just leave appropriate feedback and go on your way. So don't get yourself worked up. Once you get the fragrance in, authenticate it. If it checks out, great. If it doesn't, you're covered, so no worries. And lastly, I will just touch on the fact that eBay honestly does not care that they have tons and tons and tons of counterfeits. So the onus is kind of on you to check initially to make sure that everything checks out, to make sure that you're getting something legitimate and you don't have to go through the headache of returning something. Because you can check right now, and if you know what to look for, you can find fake Tom Fords, fake Creeds, fake Dolce & Gabbana, fake Dior, fake Chanel, fake everything. They're always going to be there because eBay does not care enough to police every single listing. I don't even know that they could, to make sure that only legitimate things are on there. So the onus is on you to make sure that you're buying something legitimate, or to authenticate it as much as you can before you get it, to make sure that you're getting the real deal. So hopefully these tips have helped. A lot of them are kind of common sense, but if you put each listing through its paces, then you really cut down on the possibility of getting a fake. From time to time, because I kind of reach and buy things hoping that it's legitimate, even if it looks too good to be true, I still end up with fakes every once in a while. But like I said, it's not too much of a big deal because you can just return it, get a full refund. That Escada magnetism that I bought, I had to return that. But that's the only one I've bought this year so far that's been fake off eBay, so it's been a good year. But that's all I've got. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to shoot them my way, and I'll do my best to answer them. As always, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.